Time now for News Extra. It is brought to you by Gering Civic Center. Passing notes over there in the classroom is Kevin Mooney.
That's right. I'm seeing if I can, if I'm smarter than a first grader. Remember that? Remember that TV show? Maybe not. We're going to find out here in a minute. Kelsey Engel is here. She is a Gering first grade teacher, and they are in a new math curriculum that the school district talked about in one of their public media sessions, and Kelsey did such a good job explaining it. I thought I'd bring her in and have her tell you all about it. So how you doing? Pretty good?
I'm doing good, yes.
All right.
Thank you.
So let's talk about this. Math expressions is what this is. This is a curriculum that all the teachers in the school district actually decided they wanted to do, right?
Yep, there was a committee that looked through different curriculums, and then they decided on the one that they wanted to use. So.
All right. And this is something you've used for the first time this year?
Yep, this is the first time.
So. All right. Explain what this is, because this is a little bit different than what you normally do.
Yeah, math expressions is really helping the students take over their learning within the curriculum, making them be more responsible. It's teaching them that there are more than one way to solve a problem. And they are really beginning to rely on one another because each kid within the classroom can be solving the same problem in a different way. And they're learning that it's okay to mess up, and the other kids around them will help them, as well as myself. It's helping them understand the why behind the math, too, a lot. We do what's called math talk within the curriculum, where I pose, right now we're working on story problems, and the students are able to show their work to each other, and then they question one another. We use a lot of, I wonder why you wrote 31 instead of 13, and then they have to explain that they just mixed up the 10s and 1s, and they have a drawing to prove that. So they're questioning each other, explaining their thinking, and then contributing to each other. And just taking responsibility for their learning. So.
Okay. So there's no, I remember back, okay, this is a long time ago, okay? But I remember I used flashcards. You remember that?
Yep.
Remember that?
Sit there and drill. Yep.
Sit there and you drilled on flashcards, so you had to remember what 6 plus 5 was and so forth. This is nothing anywhere close to that,
No,
is it?
not really. We started with what is 6? You know, how many is 6? Looking at the different partners of that, or like 3 plus 3. We call the add-ins the partners. And then moving into what can you add that to make 10. And so now they're breaking apart the teen numbers, and it's a lot easier for them because they have a better understanding of the smaller numbers. So.
Yeah. And like you say, they work together on these things.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So what I do is, like, I'll type up a question on my Promethean board so everybody can see it, and then I'll have like 3 different kids working it, and usually the 3 kids standing up in front of the boards all do it in a different way. And so then the students who are sitting at the rug are also solving it. So I have a 100% participation solving these problems. And then the students at the rug are able to listen to their teachers, which are our students, explain what they did and why, and then ask them questions. And we do partner work a lot, small group, as well as whole group within the curriculum.
And they're learning stuff that maybe Dennis and I learned in 3rd and 4th grade. They're learning in 1st grade, right?
Yep. And we're going to start working on the different properties of addition and subtraction, and breaking apart the numbers. It's crazy what they're doing in 1st grade.
So. All right. We'll talk more about this, how maybe it helps as they try to meet all the state standards for learning and that type of stuff right after this. All right, we're back. We got a technical problem there. All right, so let's talk about how this works with the state standards and how that works as far as meeting that.
I just looked to see some of the state standards that we're going to be working towards this week. As far as operations, our state standard says that students will demonstrate the meaning of addition and subtraction with whole numbers and do it accurately. And so we've already got the base 0 through 10. So now we're going to be working with numbers within 20 using a variety of strategies. And so our kids are using their fingers. They can count manipulatives. We've used dimes and pennies for the tens and ones. Taking, like if we do 14 minus 8, they're learning that 8 needs 2 more to get to 10, and then you've got 4 ones left over. So they're using addition to solve the subtraction. The other standard that we're also working on is it's 1.2.3, which is students will solve real world problems involving addition and subtraction. So I don't know, for example, our problem that we did on Friday was about giraffes marching in a parade and some going home because it rains. So then they can figure out how many plates they need to put on the table if somebody's not there. Just first grade math.
So they
and
can
how it's relevant to them.
Right. So they get taught here that they're going, well, when am I going to use all this?
Yes.
And that's what high school kids always say about their calculus and algebra. When am I going to use all this? Well, the kids here in first grade are actually using algebra, right?
And I like to tell them that when they get to college, they're going to need it, because I want them all to know that it's just not for first grade or high school, but when they go to college, they're going to use it. And then when they get a job, they're going to use it. Even in high school, they need to know how to count money or add and subtract. So,
yeah. Well, it's very good and extremely interesting how you guys came up with this curriculum. How many curriculums did you look at before you chose this?
I was not on that committee, so I'm not for sure how many different ones there were. I think they looked at a bunch of different ones and then narrowed it down to 3, narrowed it down to 2. But I wasn't a part of that, so I don't know for sure.
All right.
So.
As teachers in the district, do you talk with your other first grade teachers in the district to see how?
Yep. We have an early release on Wednesdays, and it's our learning team meetings where we take our student data. So we'll take our quick quizzes or our fluency checks and look at the mistakes that the kids are making. For example, our students had a really hard time with quarters recently, and so we were bouncing ideas off, and a part of what we thought we might do is set up a ice cream shop in the office, and the kids can take money and have the principals sell them ice cream once they learn how to count the coins. But as a team, we sat down and we looked at our state standards, and it's only expected for first graders to use dimes and pennies to count on. We're just supposed to introduce the quarters and the nickels. So we were all pulling our hair out trying to figure out how to help the kids count 25.
So you were probably going maybe a little above what you should have.
And so then we were relieved when we looked and saw that we were just expected to be mastery using dimes and pennies, their value, and adding. So it will be good to reinforce the quarter and nickel, but something that we can have a little bit of more breathing room. So we do work very closely across the district, looking for ways to improve and looking at our student data. So.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in and talking about math expressions. I thought it'd be kind of interesting for people to know what's going on in the school district and at Gering with this new curriculum.
Our students are very excited about it.
Yeah.
They love when it's math time.
That's the good part.
I think because they get to be the teacher quite a bit. We have student leaders do a lot within our classroom for math. So
yeah. Well, that's great.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me in.
Thanks for coming in and explaining it. Math expressions, new curriculum over at Gering Elementary Schools.